What's going on, everybody? It's Kyle with Tatum's Land Care. We're out here on another one this week. We're out here in Delaware County, Ohio. This one is for a repeat customer. We've done a lot of work for him in the past. He's a local land developer, kind of just buys lots, flips them, and parcels them out. So the whole goal for this property is to scrub out all the invasives. For the most part is what we're dealing with. We got some smaller walnut. We're taking down these big dead ash. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 3 on the other side of the road we're going to be taking out. So I think we're taking out a total of 7 or 8 dead ash that we're going to be taking down for them, getting the stumps ground out and just scrubbing this whole area out right here. This is kind of the first part of the job. And you can see here, this is where the actual houses are going to go, back in this like kind of open, more open, mature timber. So that's kind of our stopping point. We're actually not going to be scrubbing out a lot of that. Our main goal is this area over here. This is where the road frontage is. You got a road coming through right here, and on the other side of those power lines right there, got the main road over there. So basically he wants to be able to drive future clients down that road and this road to where they can actually see in here, kind of picture where their lot is going to be and what it looks like. You can see what we're dealing with. Most of this is let's see here, we got some scrubby oaks we're going to be taking out, but majority is your invasives like normal. I got your multiflora rose here, big old, well, not too big actually as far as honeysuckle and autumn olive goes. You can see the honeysuckle here. Most of it's bigger than this, but you can see this here. Nothing too mature size wise, just really dense. That little pocket in there, you can see that getting a lot of sunlight in there. I don't know if they logged in here in the past or if that's just the way it was. It's a reverted field, probably just a reverted field, but you can see it's getting a lot of sunlight, so it's pretty dense in here. Nothing too big diameter wise. It's all probably 1 to 2 inches at the most, but pretty dense, as you can see. You can't really get back too much further over there, but we got another probably 80 to 100 yards that way to get to the roadside there. We're going to leave a little buffer on that roadside just for some privacy. His main goal is to open up this side along this road right here so everybody can see in here. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with today. A lot of invasives as usual. We're in kind of central Ohio. This is the epicenter of, well, pretty much in this area you get all the invasives. It's kind of like that in the whole state now, but especially in this area, you'll see a mixture of everything. We got autumn olive here. That tends to be kind of on the edges a little bit more, wants a little bit more sun than honeysuckle does. That's this. If you guys aren't familiar with that stuff, people call it Russian olive. It's actually autumn olive if you look it up. This is a smooth bark. Good way to identify. People call it silver bush too, because especially in the fall, these leaves like underneath here get kind of like a silver tint to it. Good way to identify them is that smooth bark, and they have like a reddish, like their new sprouts kind of have this like reddish tint to it, especially when you cut them and they start sprouting out of the cuts. Is they got that real kind of reddish color to them. So that's a good way to identify those. Got those, again, silver kind of underneath, smooth bark. This one is a little bit darker than normal. Most of the time that bark is pretty silver in color, like a silver brown color. But yeah, so that's autumn olive. You'll hear people call it Russian olive or whatever other kind of olive, but it's technically in this area it's called autumn olive. So again, you got your multiflora rose and your honeysuckle, dealing with the honeysuckle. So you got honeysuckle here, autumn olive underneath, and that's what we're dealing with. So you can see what these invasives do to an understory. They just really just kind of take over, choke everything out. I get people all the time who are, you know, you're killing trees, and no, not really. How the forestry mulchers work is pretty much anything we're cutting, we're really not killing, we're just setting it back. So Same thing with a chainsaw. Most species, you cut them down, they're going to stump sprout out of that stump that you leave behind unless you treat them with herbicide. So on a location like this, when we're dealing with primarily invasives, you really just got to take everything out, and you got to come back through with an herbicide treatment afterwards. That's really the way to control these invasives. A lot of people don't like herbicide. I don't necessarily like herbicide either, but when it comes to these invasives, for total control, that's really the only solution that you got. In a perfect situation, you can, once you cut things, once you forestry mulch everything, you can kind of keep everything maintained with a bush hog if you have the luxury of that. But a lot of these locations that we're in, back in the woods and whatnot, it's just not feasible to get a bush hog back there. So you really got to you got to control it with herbicide. Most people are not going to be like us and control everything with fire. That's one way to do it to a certain degree, but you really got to take out these invasives first, get them all cut down to the ground to where you can even access everything. Because going in and spraying a unit like that is pretty much nightmarish. Because you're spraying above your head, you're getting into everything you already sprayed to some degree, so you're getting herbicide on you, which is never a good thing. So yeah, forestry mulching on a unit like this is really the only way to go if you want things to be clean and you want to control these invasives. So yeah, this is what we're dealing with today. We're gonna get started. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Like I said, we'll be out here for about 3 or 4 days, so it should be a pretty cool video. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's get going. Poison ivy and multiflora rose and all that good stuff. Anytime I can't see the ground really, I'm pretty much just taking my good old sweet time. Because a lot of this stuff you really just can't see what's underneath. You never know. There's going to be a block of concrete or rocks, engine blocks. You never know. Like that. There's a concrete, I don't know if that's a well cover right there, what that is right there on the left, but anyway, yeah, I think it's worth the time to kind of take your time when you're going through areas like this. You never know if there's balled up fence, all kind of different stuff that could be in here. So typically I just like to take my time going through units like this. Get some of this. The biggest stuff we have in this unit is this honeysuckle that's maybe 4 or 5 feet tall, all 1/2 inch, 1 inch diameter stuff. Nothing too big. We're gonna go through this unit pretty quick here. It's gonna clean out around these bigger trees so my chainsaw operators can get in here and cut these big old dead ash down. That's what we're doing with these big ones, so obviously they can't really get in here and cut all this stuff until I clean it all out. So on a job like this, I got them out doing other stuff, and I'll be out here by myself on this unit just so I can get everything scrubbed out. So when they get here tomorrow, they'll have plenty to do and they don't gotta be standing around waiting for me to get areas scrubbed out. So that's how we typically do things when it comes to unit units like this that need to be cleaned out before chainsaw operators can get in. Like I said, it don't gotta be perfect. I just like to get things kind of scrubbed out, get everything off the ground to where they aren't tripping around on all kind of stuff. You can see we got some dead ash limbs here at the base. Getting those chopped up. So once they come in here and cut these bigger trees down, I'll come back in and kind of clean things up around that area, around the stump and whatnot. So walk through as much of the unit as I can, but there's in units like this you really just can't walk through them, so you gotta be careful and take your time, not go flying in there head first and hitting stupid stuff. So I've hit some big stuff in the past, ever since I transmission that was buried in the ground that I hit. And ever since I hit, well, that wasn't on this head, but on a different unit. And this was never quite the same after that. So sometimes you gotta learn these lessons the hard way. But it's inevitable, even if you are taking your time. You know, if you hit something big, you can at least back off of it pretty quick. If you hit balled up fence, you can minimize the damage by going in slow. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you just hit stuff. But another great thing to listen to, well, I guess just a piece of advice I would give is never trust a landowner who says there shouldn't be anything in there. I was back there, you know, last year or year before last, or it's been 5 years, but there shouldn't be anything in there. I've heard so many people say that, and I go back there and there's a freaking car buried in there. You never know. So it is, I think, well worth your time to take your time in units like this. When you start getting into bigger material that you can actually see underneath, then you can start speeding things up. But that's just my 2 cents. So like I said, the whole unit here, we're scrubbing all this small stuff out so our chainsaw operators can come in here and get this bigger stuff down. Any good trees that are in here, we got some maple and some walnut trees right here on my right and left that are 3-4 inch. They're pretty good looking trees, so we're going to leave all those. Again, with this job, our main goal is getting all the scrub brush out so people can actually see in here and see what things look like. So said, we're running carbides today, so when it comes to getting in the dirt, I'm really not too worried about it. You probably can't tell by the video, but this whole section in particular is very uneven. So that's why we put the carbides on today. And you don't have to be nearly as careful with these as you do with the carbides. You can probably get a little bit more life out of them if you're real careful, but in my opinion, it's not that big of a difference when you're running through the dirt with the carbides. Kind of actually makes things look a little bit better in my opinion. When you kind of get somewhat into the dirt, it kind of churns that mulch right back into it. Alright guys, this is exactly why I say I take my time running through here on material like this. You know, it's all pretty dense and you really just, I mean, you can walk through this smaller stuff here, but this was covered by a big honeysuckle right here and had vines all over top of it, so you really just can't see that. But it looks like a tire rim. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Looks like a tire rim. But you can see we hit it there, but thankfully I was going slow enough to where as soon as I hit it I backed out, so did as minimal damage as possible. Still probably did some damage to the teeth, but thankfully we got carbides on today, because that would have wrecked some planer knives for sure. But that's a perfect example of why I take my time in here. There's also some balled up fence over there that we hit, thankfully that just caught the edge of it and threw it out pretty quick, so I don't have to worry about anything like that getting tangled up. So I'm gonna walk back through here just to make sure, but like I said, it's so hard to see what's on the ground in here, so you just got to take your time, and that's exactly why. So perfect example for you guys. All right guys, just Starting day 2 here. We got some decent amount of progress done. It is real sloppy out here right now. This section right here wasn't too bad yesterday. It's already starting to dry up. We've had some pretty hot temps today, but this was a little section we started on yesterday, and so far today we kind of expanded out this way, kind of along the road frontage here. So take you around here. Let's see. Yeah, it's just super wet in there. It's a pretty low spot in general, especially with everything being shaded out. No sunlight's been able to get down in there and dry stuff out. You can tell this water has been standing for a while. So, but thankfully with this job, really our whole goal is just to open this up, so they can just see from this road in there. So we're getting that accomplished. He's not worried about rutting stuff up right here. If we need to, we can come over and just drag things with a bucket real quick when things dry up later, but he's not too concerned about that. But you can see, got all this stuff off of the edge here for the most part. We're just I'm gonna go back through there, take some of those scrub oaks out, but so far looking pretty good. We'll kind of finish off with this pocket right here. I don't think he wants me to go too much further to the road. So yeah, that's pretty much all we've been able to do today. We'll get some more video of that edge over there, just kind of see what we're dealing with. Some of that stuff in the middle was pretty thick, but my windshield was so freaking covered in dirt, it's like I couldn't even film really from inside the cab. So, but yeah, you can see just how mucky it is out there. We're just, tracks are filled, windshield is dirty. If anybody has a good way of keeping your windshield clean, let me know, because if you can come up with a solid idea, you might make some money. But no, it's a big hassle for everybody when it comes to forestry mulching. It's just keeping that door clean so you can see, especially when it gets dirty like that. When you face the sun, it's like you're just like completely blinded, you can't even see anything. So a lot of jobs, honestly, we kind of work away from the sun on purpose, and we kind of start on a corner to where we can work away from the sun, so we're not having to face into the sun all the time. So yeah, but we'll get these dead ash down. Once these come out, this area will look pretty good, and we'll finish up on that edge over there. So all right guys, let's get to it. guys, just a quick update on this job. This is day 3. So far today we've been kind of grappling some of these bigger ash logs out to the edge here. We got a buddy that's going to come grab them with his picker truck. He's going to take them home for some firewood. Some of them are pretty rotted out, so some of that stuff he's just going to dump for us. So last step on this job is we're going to get all these stumps ground down, clean up all the limbs and whatnot that's left over from the ash. And we still got to take those those 3 ash down right there. Most of those we're just gonna, I'll probably just mulch all of those where they are, so I don't have to move those around. But yeah, it is soupy, real wet out here. We got another 1.5 inches in a matter of hours last night, just an absolute downpour. You can see some of them bigger limbs came down in that storm. We had some really high winds. I'm surprised there's not more. Oh, got a hen turkey walking around back there. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna clean all this out. Thankfully with this job, they're gonna be coming in here and grading all this stuff anyway with dozers, and this is gonna be new homes and whatnot. So thankfully it doesn't matter what this looks like as far as leaving ruts and all that kind of stuff, or else we would not be out here right now. But yeah, we just cannot catch a break with the rain. It's just a real wet year so far, and it continues to be wet, so it doesn't look like it's stopping. But basically we're going to scrub out the rest of this, some of this stuff that's been left behind. There's some limbs down, get all the limbs out of here, and then the last little pocket, we're going to go around this tree, get this pocket down, and then kind of go down that edge and get that last pocket down there. So yeah, that'll be it for this job and we'll be done. So we're gonna get in the mulcher, start mulching, and should be done in 3 or 4 hours. So getting done a little bit sooner than we thought, so that's always nice. But yeah, it's a hot one today. It's in the low 90s, but just high humidity. So hopefully this dry weather, we got a couple days of dry weather, hopefully that'll dry up some of this stuff, let us get on to some other jobs that we need to get to. But yeah, whew, it's hot. Summer's finally here. So all right, let's get to it. Alrighty guys, we are all done here in Delaware County. So this whole area, as you saw before, all scrubbed out. Got all the dead ash out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4 dead ash out of here. There were 3 on the other side of the driveway we took out as well. We got all the logs staged on the edge just for the picker truck to come grab those and get those out of here. I think he's coming sometime later this week. So yeah, got everything over here all the way to the fence line. Opened things up pretty good to where you can kind of see back in there now. It's not perfect, but it doesn't need to be for this particular job. So everything looks real nice. He's happy. Got a big oak out of there. We ended up taking that out for him as well. But you can see everything up to about here was pretty thick. Left some decent walnuts. There's some maple. I think there's a sweet gum on the other side over there that we left as well. But yeah, so go over to this section. Went ahead and went back a little bit further on the edges. Scrubbed out a little bit farther over there as well. There's a big old dead ash that was laying down there, so didn't go any farther than that. But this is not ideal mulching situations with all just with how soupy this is. Again, like I said before, it's just hard to leave a really clean site when things are this muddy. But thankfully, like I said, with this job, the only reason we did this job right now is because it really doesn't matter what it looks like, because they're going to have dozers and all kind of big equipment through here. Into summer, I think, they're bringing in the big stuff to kind of grade all this out. They're going to actually do like some pretty extensive clearing on that backside there. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you would like and subscribe, that definitely helps us out. We also have a web page coming online soon here. It's just www.tatumslandcare.com. That'll be a little bit more in depth. If you guys are local, you need anything done that has a list of all of our services, you can email me straight through there. My phone number will be on there as well. But yeah, so we're excited about that. That's been in the works for a little bit now, and that's finally happening. So we'll put the link in the description if you guys want to check that out. I hope you guys enjoyed. See ya.